No. Mm-mm.
Nobody's showing themselves.
What about Cat? Where is she? That's her carpet. That's not cool.
Who? Cat.
It's a rug.
There we go. There we go. Every part of me needs to see humans.
Kyla found Tyler's Reese's stash, and she was eating a giant. Lola, get down! She was eating a
giant Lola.
cup. Was that delicious?
She looks innocent to me.
Hey, girl.
Good morning.
Hey, Kyla.
Hi, Kyla. Hi, baby girl. Who do you like better, me or Daniel? Me. Yes.
I lost her.
Mwah. I love you.
Say love you.
Nance, okay, Nance, okay.
Okay. All right,
You're like
Ben.
you're kissing all of our screen here.
Oh, I forgot. I was just trying to kiss a baby. Sorry, everyone. That's very strange.
All right, Ben, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Duke, are we ready?
I can actually hear you.
Are we recording? Yeah.
Good.
You said you're recording already? Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Today we are going to talk about best practices communication. Today's whole subject is going to be on communication. So first thing I need everybody to do is get out pen and paper.
Oh, I'm ready.
It's going to be that class. Because communication is not just what I say, it's what you interpret, it's what you hear, it's what you write down. All of this is communication. So in order to communicate something properly, I want to make sure we cover it to where you hear it, you say it at times, I'll ask questions, and you write it down so then you can see it and read it. All these things are crucial to communication. So I'm going to go ahead and start presenting. Hopefully this works. Are you seeing it? All right.
I'm seeing Ben.
What?
Oh, you can change over.
I see
There's two different Bens. Okay, now I see the screen.
Okay.
I got it.
I don't have any idea how to do this, so when it's my turn, I'm using poster board. Just want to let you guys know.
I was about to, but Scott made me go to slides. So
I also don't see any screen. I just see Ben.
Yeah, there's another one you have to click on. I think Ben has two different things going.
Yeah.
So scroll down, Laura. Are you on your phone?
I logged off on my phone, Duke.
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
So scroll down a little bit and look for the other one that says Ben Swicegood. There's two of them.
Oh, found it. Okay, thanks.
There you go.
You need to delete the other one, Duke, or something?
Hi, Laura. I miss you.
Hey, you look so pretty this morning.
Thank you.
I got new earrings.
I'm literally not
I like them.
on my phone, so I don't know how.
Gold and pink are pretty together.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody got the screen? Best practices communication. Everybody, we there?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So let's get started. Here's the goal for today. Here's my goal for today as a presenter, as a facilitator, as someone that's speaking on this subject. It's for all of us to be better communicators who genuinely care about the person we are communicating with so we can build better relationships, set more appointments, and close more deals for us and our family. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
That is the goal. If that's what you're looking for, you are in the right place. If you're not looking for those things, then maybe you should go make some calls. But that's what we're covering today. So here's the definition. According to Webster, I believe, or dictionary.com, the definition of communication: the imparting or exchanging of information or news, the successful conveying or sharing of ideas and feelings, social contact, I guess that's out, Means of sending or receiving information such as telephone lines or computers. I've underlined some key words that I think are important to this definition of communicating, like exchanging, successful conveying or sharing, and sending or receiving. All these are keys to communication. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I want to tell you a little story. If I can find it. Okay. I want to tell you a story of my boss. There was this mob boss who had an accountant, and his accountant was deaf and mute. He couldn't hear or speak. And this mob boss one day realized he was missing $3 million. $3 million he was missing. So he got an interpreter, and he had the interpreter ask his accountant, "Where's my money?" Right? And the accountant kept saying, "I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is." You know, he was signing this to the interpreter. Twice he told the interpreter, which told the mob boss, "He doesn't have your money." So then the mob boss pulls out a gun, puts the gun to the accountant, and told the interpreter, "Ask him one more time, where's my money?" The interpreter, or the accountant, signed to the interpreter, "The money is in the back room, under the bed, in some bags." The interpreter looks at the mob boss and says, "He said you don't have the guts to pull the trigger." Communication is very important. Would you agree?
Yes.
You'll get that. If you didn't get that joke, you'll get it later. But communication is very important. How we're portrayed, how our words, what we communicate is received is very important. We can't just communicate and think, "Well, I understand it. Hopefully they understand it." We have to make sure it's communicated correctly. So I want to ask you a question. I want to make this a little bit interactive today. What percentage of our business do you all think is communication?
A lot.
90%.
90?
90.
That's a good guess.
99.
99.
That's better.
100.
100.
100.
$1.
$1.
I'd say it's a good amount, right? A good amount of our job is through communication. I mean, we do contracts and we look up and set people on searches, but I'd say a big part of our job, our career, is communication. So who do we communicate with? What's a list of some people that we communicate with?
Agents, other agents,
Yep, exactly.
clients,
Clients, agents. Who else?
Appraisers.
Attorney's office.
Attorneys, vendors.
photographer,
Yeah, photographer.
Team members.
Yep, team members.
Debbie,
Yep,
Mhm.
transactional coordinators. Sometimes admins. Sometimes like Sam will do when we have problems. There's a lot of people, right? A lot of people that we have to communicate. If you really think about it, it's not just a client and maybe an agent that you call to ask a question. It's a lot of people. So how do we communicate with them? What are the ways that we have currently right now to communicate?
texting, email, phone call,
Yep.
Google Meets.
Google Meet, video calls,
the green dot,
social media, Instagram, Facebook, lots of ways, right?
Yep.
But what do you think my favorite way is?
the phone.
Anybody got a guess?
Face to face or the phone? Oh, the phone? Yeah, okay.
Who remembers that clear phone? Rachel, I know
I
you
remember that.
I had that phone.
I did too. And who remembers when flip phones came out? It was like the greatest invention ever. Those big old clunky flip phones.
Yeah.
It was great. People that have never had anything but a cell phone just don't get it.
Smartphone. Yeah.
They just don't get it. But to me, the best way of communication is to a telephone. Why? Because it's hard for one reason. It's hard to negotiate through text or email. Would anybody agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when I see a house with a client and they're interested, I always say, I'm going to call the agent and I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to find out as much information as I can. And I have to do that on the phone, because if I send a text message, I don't get to hear tonality, voice changes, body language, stutters, stalls, certainty, uncertainty. All those things really, really play into negotiation, right? So if I just send a text, they have time to type it the right way. They can use emojis. They can trick me. But if I call them on the phone, put them on the spot, and I start asking questions like, what is your client looking for in an offer? How much are they willing to negotiate? How much are they willing to come down? What would they like to see? What's a good closing date? You just start asking questions like that, you're going to find out a whole lot of stuff. Maybe more than the agent should tell you, right? About the other person's situation, which can be vital to negotiating. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So let's talk about the parts of communication. There's 3 parts, I believe, maybe more, but these are the main 3: words, tonality, and body language. And the words only make up 20%, and that's high. Some people say only 10%, but we'll say 20. Words make up 20% of our communication, but tonality and body language make up 80% of our communication. And we spend so much time trying to find the right script or the right words that's only 20% of what we should be focusing on. So break these down. Words could be, like I said, like the script, like what you're going to say, when you're role playing or when you're practicing. Body language can be a lot of things. Body language, which you can't exactly do on the phone, but if you were in person or sitting at the table, it's your posture, it's leaning in or leaning out, it's mirror and matching the other person. Are they relaxed? Are they leaning forward on the table? How are they sitting? How are they standing? It's active listening, which is huge. It's not being fidgety when you're standing there face to face, because that would show uncertainty. And it's facing someone, possibly squared off at them or off center. Does anybody know how you should face? Let's just say we were door knocking. I know that's crazy, but let's say we were at somebody's door. Does anybody know how you should stand if a male answers versus a female?
The male
I
is
would
like
imagine-
directly, right?
Right.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the female
Off
is like
center.
off. Yeah,
female.
I agree.
Very good. Very good.
Maybe can someone translate? I didn't understand what they were saying.
I'll say it. So if a man answers, you square up a man, shoulder to shoulder, chest to chest. Right. Well, not that close. If a female answers, you slightly pivot, you slightly turn off center, because it makes them feel less like you're being less aggressive, what's the word, ladies?
Aggressive?
I think aggressive is a good word.
Less aggressive, yeah. So you slightly turn your shoulders a little bit away from them so that you're able to get out of the way if they seem a little agitated with you. And have you ever had, lately I've had some door salesmen come up and they stand on the first step. Anybody seen that?
Yep.
They sell from the first step because they're trying not to be offensive, evasive, too close to you. Not because of the virus. I'm talking about before the virus, but they would literally sell with one step on the porch, one step on the first step, because they're trying to give you distance, respect, and not make you feel like they're trying to sell you something when they really are trying to sell you something. So, and then tonality, and this is my favorite one, and this is what we will spend majority of today talking about, because I believe it is the most important one. So, all right. When it comes to tonality, you have different tonalities, like, sincere, empathy, certainty. There's like a mystery, intriguing tonality. All these things that you can do with your voice, to me, are the most important things we can do. So 3 things a person should know or think about you. If let's just say this is a phone call, but it can be used in other areas. Well, if you're on the phone, there's a lot of noise coming from somebody's mic. But 3 things that a person should know or think about you. Number 1, that you're sharp as a tack. Number 2, that you're enthusiastic. And number 3, that you're an expert in your field. And if you came through onboarding with me when I was in today, you probably heard these 3 things. These 3 things are key to portraying these things when someone you are talking to for the first time. They have to believe, or at least perceive, that you're sharp, enthusiastic, and an expert. What's interesting is when you're on the phone, you have 4 seconds to pull that off. 4. If you're in person, you have 1 to 2 seconds to pull that off. And how long do you think you have on video?
3.
That's good. Yep, that's probably about right. So think about that. When you're making a video, you have 3 seconds before somebody scrolls off you.
That's like the average view time of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
3 seconds. So when you're in person, 1 to 2. When you're on the phone, 4 seconds to show people that you are sharp, enthusiastic, and an expert. How do we do this? Tonality. It's all about the tonality. Now, when we talk about tonality, understand that we all use tonality accidentally, right? We all have those times where we get excited and our voice kind of goes up and we're like in our head voice, or we can kind of go in our nasal voice, or we can just talk from our throat, just like a normal thing, or we can really talk down deep, chest, because we believe what we're saying, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then we can get real quiet, like bring the audience in, like, hey, listen, let me tell you this. I got to explain it to you. But then we get really excited and we can talk really up here and everything's great, right? We do this all the time. And I don't even think we're probably aware of it. It's just natural. But what if we could learn to use it on purpose? Do you think it would help you be a better communicator or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Side note, I was watching the Best of Will Ferrell last night on SNL, and he was playing the character who couldn't control the tonality of his voice. Do you remember that one? He was like, I have voice modulation disease, and I cannot control the tonality of my voice. Sorry. Just made me think of it. He was just yelling constantly.
Right. No, it's important. And being even the best tonality that you can think of, if you're that way all the time, that doesn't work either.
Yeah.
You have to be able to control it and mix it up, especially when you're communicating with somebody maybe for the first time, or you're trying to sell yourself or your product or your service. You really have to be able to get people to listen to you, to understand you. They have to understand and agree and perceive that you actually care about them, family, and getting the best results. And that you're really enthusiastic and you're really a hard worker and you're really going to go all in for them. And you're really going to get them the best deal because you really do want to see them move to Florida, wherever it is, right? So the words that we say, the words speak to the logical side of the brain, if you will. The tonality, the body language speak to the emotional side. And like I said, which side in our business do you think most people make their decisions off of, the logical or the emotional?
Emotions, for sure.
Yes. So then which would be more important, the words you say or the way you say them?
The way you say them.
Yes.
Teacher's pet.
Thank you. So when you talk about tonality, understand that when you're talking to somebody, when you're selling something, or when you're just calling someone to see if they need services or help, everyone we speak to has this monologue going on in their mind as we're trying to influence them based on an old pattern or a belief system that they have, right? They're playing this thing in their head as you're talking, which is why it's so important in those first 4 seconds to grab them, because they're going to automatically start thinking, what does this person want? Why are they calling me? Great, another sales call. They're about to hang up. They're about to shut the door. They've heard this spiel before. They know what you're doing. They know why you're calling. You're selling something, you want something, you need their money, something like that, right? That's playing in their head while you're talking. So if you just start with the script, if you just start with words and you're just relying on this great worded script that you got from Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, Kevin Ward, or whoever, they've heard it before. We've all had sales calls before, right? We've all had that. The words you say aren't as important as the way you say them. Has anybody ever gotten a sales call before?
Yes.
The Hilton Hotel
Yes.
every day.
Every
Hilton.
day, right?
Hilton.
And don't you love it when they call and it's this just foreign voice for one, but it's this, nothing against foreigners. Sorry, I'm not discriminating. But it's usually overseas, right? Because I don't know. Anyway, but they call and they have this monotone voice, right? There's no up and down in the voice. There's no excitement, no enthusiasm, definitely no certainty. They don't seem very sharp, and you don't perceive them as an expert, right?
Well, they're reading. A lot of times they're reading a script, and you can really tell.
Yeah, Rachel said that yesterday. Recruiting calls, where you could tell they're reading a script, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The script, or if they're like too excited, and they're like, "Have you always wanted to?" And you're like, "You need to calm down."
Right.
Yeah, this one lady called me and was like, our company has noticed you've sold a lot of homes in the past year."
They're great. I love
Okay.
to listen to them because you learn so much. Like I'll let them go and do the whole thing just because I want to critique it and be like, please don't ever let me say it like that, or I don't want to that way. Right?
Do you ever give them constructive criticism? You totally should.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
You do? That's awesome.
I have fun with them. I challenge them and I push them and I ask, I turn them down or I throw up an objection to see how they'll handle it. And some of them just say, okay, well, thanks for your time. And they hang up. And I'm like, really? One objection? You're done? One?
I had a guy, and he clearly wasn't foreign. He was from this country, but he was reading a script, called me about managing my social media page. And I asked him kind of for the same reason, like see how he would handle the objections and stuff. And also I was just curious, is this guy ready to have a real conversation? I asked him about like what kind of engagement they can guarantee as far as like interactions and blah, blah, blah. And he couldn't give me any numbers. He had no statistics to offer, which I was like, that's kind of hard when you can't give me any concrete information on what to expect. And then I was like, I shot a 1-minute video on my phone and I have 1,300 views on it. Like, how do I know that you guys would do better? And he was like, if you're not the kind of person, if you're the kind of person who wants to post on your own Facebook page and you want to spend your time managing that, then this service isn't for you. And I was like, that is then it's not. You just decided that I'm not buying your service.
Right.
But I think he got pissed off, like, and that showed through too.
Yeah, people get angry, short-tempered.
So what's missing in some of those, a lot of those calls is tonality. A lot of them just don't have the tonality. They're not using tonality on purpose, and they're not intentional with the way they say things, and the tonality isn't there. So therefore we don't really buy in. We don't think that they care. We don't hear any sincerity. We don't think they're an expert. We don't think they can help us. So let's talk about tonalities. There's quite a few, but I'm going to just briefly go over these 7. And then I'm going to be very vulnerable and I'm going to read an expired script and I'm going to try to emphasize certain tonalities and see if you pick up on them. But that'll be fun. So there's declarative, which could be just like a statement or your opening line, your question. There's certainty, where you're certain that you can get the person the result they're looking for. There's sincerity, like you really do want to help them. You really are going to give them that result. There's the mysterious, the intrigue. There's the I really want to know. Please tell me. There's the hypothetical, like, it's just hypothetical if. And then there's the reasonable man. The reasonable man would be like, Does that make sense to you? Like, what do you have to lose? Would it matter to you? What if we just came by for 10 or 15 minutes? You know, would it be that big of a deal? Would it be that much of a, would it be that much of a waste of time? Reasonable man. So, now I don't know how I can read my script, Duke.
You
I
can
see where it's
share.
So
You can share just a portion of your screen, I think.
Trying,
A
but
window.
it takes over.
well,
While you're reading it, we're supposed to say if you're using one of those tones.
No, I'm gonna read it all the way through. I'm gonna try, and then I'll come back and ask if anybody picked up on anything. Can y'all
We
still
don't need to see it. We can just hear you. We don't need to see it.
Right? No, I don't have to see it. You can still see my screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Here we go. So nobody. I'm gonna act like I'm on the phone with somebody, and I'm gonna try to say what they might have been saying, so you pick up on it. But I want you to see if you pick up on certain tonalities in this script. Here we go. Hi, is this John? Hey, John, this is Benjamin with Keaton & Company Real Estate. How you doing today? Great. Listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time, John, but the reason for my call is I noticed that your property on 123 Main Street has come off the market, and I was just wondering, John, what do you think stopped it from selling? Well, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, usually in my experience, John, 3 reasons, John, why homes don't sell. It's either the price, the marketing, or the agent. Would you agree? Which one of those do you think it was? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, let me ask you this. How did you pick your last agent? What's some things that he or she did that you liked? John, what do you think they should have done? What do you think would have made it stand out if they would have done better marketing? I see. Okay. Who chose the listing price? John, was it you or was it the agent? Well, John, when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of actually getting your home sold? Well, if the property would have sold, John, where were you all planning to move to? Oh, really? Wow, I love it down in Florida. That's where I'm trying to go, is Florida. I love Florida. I used to live in Florida. What's taking you to Florida? How soon would you like to be there? Well, John, it sounds to me like you still want to sell the property. Am I right? So let me ask you this, John. If there was a buyer for your home, a pre-approved buyer that was willing to pay your asking price and close in the 30 to 40 days like you said you would like to be in Florida, would you consider selling your home still to this buyer? Perfect. And if I could help you make that happen, that would be okay with you, right? Great. Or, that's great. I can appreciate what you're saying, John. So let me ask you this. If I was to come over and give you a second opinion, a second option, if you will, about how to sell your home for top dollar in a time frame that you are comfortable with, would that be okay with you? Okay. Objection. I hear what you're saying, and I understand. I just want to come by, put some fresh new marketing in your hands that we use to help families just like yours get the results they're looking for so they can move to Florida in your case. Does that make sense? I mean, would that be worth just 10 or 15 minutes of your time, John? Right. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I know. Nothing wrong with needing to think about it and taking some time. That totally makes sense after being on the market for 6 months. I totally get it. Let me ask you this. If you had worked with us sometime in the past and you knew how much time and energy we put into our serving our clients, if you knew the marketing and the aggressive marketing that we use and the strategies and the tools that we use to go above and beyond, then you probably wouldn't be saying, I need to think about it. Am I right? So let me reintroduce myself to you and just explain a little bit about who I am and the company and the team that I work for. Would that be okay? Go over experience, services, benefits, value. These are the tools we use to help families net what they need to net and move in a time frame they're comfortable with. And because of that, John, 65% of our business comes from referrals and past clients that have been happy with our service. Are you interested in getting those kind of results for you and your family, John? Then would tomorrow at 4 or Thursday at 5 be better for you?
Yes.
Okay, one more. Here's one more objection. I get that. I do. Listen, our goal is to help you sell your home and get to Florida. That would be our goal. So listen, if you don't like our strategy and the marketing we use to sell homes, and if we don't seem like a good fit for you and your family, then we'll shake hands and I'll be on my way. Sound fair enough? But if you do like what we do, and you do feel like we'd be a good fit, then the only thing you'll be saying, John, is I wish I would have called him 6 months ago. Would tomorrow at 4 or Thursday at 5 be better for you? So what do you think?
You sound like Jordan Belford. That was perfect. I feel like I'm living a real Wolf of Wall Street right now.
Where do you
Like
think I got a
Big's
lot of that
greatest
from?
compliment.
Victory!
That is a great compliment. Thank you.
Did you write that script yourself?
Yes, I did.
Dude, you can make bucks off of
Yeah,
that.
how much are you selling it for? I should have.
It's on
Just got it
recording.
for free.
I wrote the whole thing down as you were saying it.
Okay. Did you pick up on any tonalities? I really tried to exaggerate a few, but did you pick up on any of the 7 tonalities?
Yeah.
Which ones? Anybody?
Can you go back to the screen that said them all? I can tell you.
If you had worked with us in the past, you would we wouldn't be objecting or something like that. To me, that's like the reason one.
Yeah,
I
that
thought
was like your
you were
certainty.
sincere. Definitely sincere. You were like, I understand. Like, I know you want to, do this, but you felt like you were very, very sincere.
Yep.
I think you did.
Sound
I
fair
really-
enough? That was reasonable, man.
I think you did.
weren't pushy. Like you could tell, like the way that you were having the conversation, you weren't really guiding him into feeling like he had to meet with you. You were definitely like leaving it up to him, like it's 100% your choice, but this is what I can offer. So I thought that was good.
Yep. All right. Oh, I got it. So let's talk about the phone conversation. So that was just an example of a phone conversation. Obviously, I sped through. I would have spent a little more time in the beginning trying to talk about them and what results they're looking for, and what happened, where they're trying to go, why are they trying to go there. The first half of the call, think about, should be gathering intelligence. And a big part of gathering intelligence is not talking. It's asking questions and it's listening. And then if they start to go too crazy, sometimes you got to bring them back in by asking a different question and divert them, because that question is leading you down a trail that you don't have time to go down. But first half of the call, you're gathering intelligence and you're building rapport. So ask big questions to small questions. Start off with big general questions, and then through the conversation, gathering intelligence, you're slowly getting down to smaller micro questions. So that word rapport, what does rapport mean? Well, a close and harmonious relationship in which the people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well. You like that definition?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about a conversation you're having with a potential prospect, someone that you're going to work with for months, someone that is going to inadvertently pay you $3,000 to $6,000, you think you should communicate with them well and be in a harmonious relationship with these people and understand their feelings and their ideas? Yes. The answer is yes. So,
Yes.
thank you. I can't see anybody when I present, so I'm just like in the dark here, just hoping that people.
Oh, I'm like nodding to you and
Sorry.
looking at you and doing all kinds of stuff. I'm sorry, Ben.
It's all right. For some reason, my laptop, I have to have one screen is like presenting, and the other screen is my next slide. So here's a few different ways to build rapport. Active listening. A lot of you are doing now. You're actively listening. Agreeing, understanding, nodding your head like Rachel is doing, that I can just sense that she's doing. Agreeing, understanding, saying yes, saying saying oh, ooh. You know, all those little subtle things you hear people do, intentionally do, and then it becomes second nature. Those things are a great way to build rapport because it lets the other person know you're really listening and you care just by making a little noise. It portrays to the other person, wow, this person's really into what I'm saying. They really care about me. They really like me. I like this person. I want to work with this person. I want to buy a house with this person. I want to give this person my money.
Take my money.
Understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Like, these things are important. Agreeing, understanding, and then mirror and matching. It's very fun to me to get in a conversation. It's better face to face, but even on the phone, to talk to somebody and try to speak their language. Now, I'm not saying try to intimidate them, because if you do it wrong, it goes really bad. Like, you're not Southern, don't try to be Southern. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't grow up in the hood, don't try to talk like you're in the hood. But if you have been in those places and you can pull out some of that stuff, like I can talk hood, right? Because I've lived down on the streets homeless. But I mean, you know, so I can get in those conversations and I can start jiving, whatever it is, with people and start talking in slang. And almost I want to cuss, even though I don't want to cuss. But I mean, I'll go back to that place in my mind and now I want to start throwing out words that I shouldn't throw out because I'm now in that character, right? If I go out to the country, I'm a little bit outside of my element. I don't know how to talk through something. Talk. You know what I mean? So those people I would struggle with a little bit, but I would just have to try to mirror and match what they're doing. I'm getting a weird feedback echo from somebody.
Yeah, somebody's echoing. Somebody's listening to it twice.
That's better. Yep. So if I'm in an area I don't know very well, like out in the country or something, I'm going to listen very intently and closely to the person I'm talking to, and I'm going to try to use wording like they use. If they describe something a certain way, or they talk with a certain slang, or they put different words together, I'm going to try to do the same thing, right? Because I'm trying to build rapport. I'm trying to make these people think this person's like me, because people buy things and use people's services that are like them. People like to buy from people like them. So we have to be like the people we're talking to, even if we're not like the people we're talking to. Make sense? Yes, thank you for those nodding heads.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Cool. All right, well, we're wrapping up here because I've taken way longer than Mr. Scott Gibson. But I feel like this subject's a little more fun than contract writing that he had. So I don't know how you make that subject fun, but I feel like this subject is a little more fun, so we can go a little bit longer. Hope you're still with me. Gonna finish with some quotes from yesterday.
Before you end, I have a question. After you end, I have a question for you.
Yes, we're gonna definitely have time for Q&A. Thank
Rachel, I miss you.
Reminding me.
I'm happy to see you.
I have the same outfit on for the last, I think I'm going on 36 hours. But I just did a workout. That's why I was late on the call. I was doing a little workout.
So I think it's been recorded.
All right, sorry.
Go, girl.
Here we go. So a few quotes and we're gonna wrap this up. First one, good communication is when your words, your voice, and your body speak the same language. Talked about that yesterday. Here's another one. If you think communication is all talking, but you ain't been listening. Great communication begins with connection. Gotta have a connection to have great communication. How do you have a connection? Well, we just talked about it. Building rapport, mirror and matching, active listening. And then The biggest communication problem is we don't listen to understand. We listen to reply. I think this is a very, very important one. And I fall into this all the time, especially with somebody new and you're a little uncomfortable and you're trying to act like you got it all together and you're maybe new to this industry, or you're, whatever, new to real estate or new to meeting with this person, and you're trying to act professional like you know everything. And so you're listening so intently because you want to be able to say the next thing and reply and say something good, but then you're not really listening to understand. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You got to listen to understand.
Very important.
Understanding the people is way more important than trying to be like a big shot know-it-all professional that has all the terminology, that knows what the floor is, that knows what the cabinets are, that knows all these things and has all these eloquently spoken words. Well, people just want to be heard and understood before any of that other stuff. And then here's a Daniel Keaton quote. The fortune, I don't know if he came up with it, maybe. The fortune is in the follow-up. So what does follow-up have to do with communication? I'm glad you asked. Everything. Communication, good communication is not a one-time thing, right? You can nail it on the first call. You can nail it when you first meet somebody. You can nail it at the first house and never see them again. Even if you nailed it, even if you were the best communicator, without the follow-up, it means nothing. It will fall through the cracks. I saw a quote, I should have put it on here now that I think back. It said, not following up is like filling up a bathtub of water with no stopper. Sounds silly. Think the water is just going to come in and just go right down the drain.
Yep.
The stopper is what holds the water in. The follow-up is what holds the people in so that you can continue to communicate with them. The second time you call someone, or any call, third, fourth, fifth call, should always start with where you left off on the last call. You should quickly recap the last communication. So let me give you an example. Here's another little script for me. Hey, John, if you recall, we spoke last week about blah, 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 going to Florida, why your home didn't sell, blah, 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 blah. Does that ring a bell? The reason for my call today, John, is the last time we spoke, confirm what they said last time, and then use it to get back into rapport. You got to re-emphasize where you left off last time. And if you bring up something in about that last conversation, guess what? That makes them think that you actually care and that you're actually listening. And that's how you get back into rapport. It could be months, it could be a year. But if you say one thing that reminds them of the conversation you had with them that you wrote down in your follow-up boss notes, you instantly get back in rapport. Instantly get back in rapport. And then you're back into a great connection and great communication. So, who should we have good communication with in our business? Anybody? Let's make a list.
But all
Every
those
single
people we
person
said
that was
beginning.
mentioned at the beginning.
Huh?
Every person that we mentioned in the beginning of this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Bingo. What does she win, Johnny? Yes, that is exactly.
A babysitter.
Exactly. Not just a client. People, some agents are great communicators with clients, I'm assuming, because they're in the business for 20, 30 years, but not so great communicators with other agents. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to have the same great communication with our clients, with other agents that we may work with in the future, with the lenders, all those things we mentioned. We need to be having great communication with. Thank you so much for joining me today on this webinar, Better Practices for Communication. Now let's move into Q&A. What y'all got?
Go,
What you
Rachel.
got?
Rachel Stagg, didn't you have a question?
Yeah.
Let's
I
hear
may
it.
have missed it, because I came on late, but the problem I have with cold calling is getting shut down immediately. And so my question would be like, how do you deal with those people that are just like, no, 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 no.
So they're saying like they're not interested, or they're not even let you get your pitch off?
Not even let you get your pitch off. And when you do, your confidence is already knocked. So you kind of give like a half pitch and you're
Right.
like, and you just feel yourself dwindling.
I feel the same, Rachel Stagg. It's hard for me. It is hard.
It goes back to the thing I said about you have 4 seconds to prove that you're sharp as a tack, enthusiastic, and an expert in your field. 4 seconds. So it's all about your opening line. Because if you don't start,
can you review that again? What is it?
What?
What's the opening line again?
Hey, this has been. Hey, is John available? Yeah, this is John. Who's this? Hey, it's Ben with Keaton and Company Real Estate. How you doing today?
And they're like,
That's all you need.
Yes, they are.
If they say here, then they didn't hang up. And if they didn't hang up, now you can pitch.
All right, what's
You
your
want
next?
them to say who. I want them to
say
say
what you say next after that when they're like, hey.
You repeat it. This has been Swicegood. I'm with Keaton and Company Real Estate. You pose it in a question like, don't you know who I am? And they think to themselves unconsciously, do I know this person? Is this person familiar? Who's Keaton and Company Real Estate? That's all you need.
All right, I'm going to say what they'll say next because it's happened.
Okay.
And you respond. And they're like, oh, I ain't got time. We're just going to take it off the market. And they're getting ready to hang up the phone. What do you say?
Say, okay, see ya. No.
Take it off the market. So this is for sellers?
Yeah, so it's a seller. We're going to take it off the market. We don't want to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would quickly probably skip down to, well, let me ask you this. If I had a buyer right now, pre-approved, pay you full price in 30 days, would you still want to take it off the market?
All right. And change that. That's
a
good.
good one.
Good. All right. Now change it over to a buyer. I'm just looking. We're really actually looking to rent.
Can we do this all day with Rachel and Ben? This is hilarious.
If they're looking to rent, then you got to go down the rent thing and then qualify. Why do you want to rent over buy and blah, blah, blah. I like it when they say I'm not interested. I got something for that. I don't have it written down. But a lot of times they say, I'm not interested, right? Here's what you can say. I know you're not interested. Because if you were interested, you would have called me. I'm not calling to find out if you're interested or not. I'm calling to find out why you're not interested.
Um,
And then they're like, what?
What happened?
Like crazy psychology on them, and they're just so jacked up. They're
Hurts my brain.
yeah, and they want to
I
talk.
might take it if you said that to me. I'd be like, hold on here.
I'll call them and find out why you're not interested. Do you use that, Ben?
I have, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be amazing. I want to hear it pulled off.
I want to
Because
write.
they'll just be like, what did you say?
I want to write down the other thing. Yeah. Hi, this is Rachel Nance with the Keaton Company Real Estate. How are you doing today? Okay. And they say, I'm not interested in what you have to say. Then you say, what?
I totally get it. I like to agree with them, like no matter what they say off the bat. They're like, I don't really want to talk to you. And be like, I totally get it. I wouldn't either. Yeah, realtors are super annoying.
Yeah, whatever you have to say to keep them on the phone.
Okay.
I like it.
Your opening line, even your voicemail, even your response when someone calls you back, how you answer the phone, all of that is communication, right? So take a listen to your voicemail. Maybe get somebody else to give you their opinion of your voicemail, because a lot of people are calling and getting your voicemail. Does it make them want to leave a message or make them not? And when people call you, the way you answer the phone and greet people in this calming voice that this agent told me, does it make people, including me and agent, want to have a conversation with you or not? All these things are important. Just as important as those 4 seconds of, hey, is John available? Hey, John, it's Ben Swicegood with Keaton and Company Real Estate. How you doing today? That doesn't sound like a sales call to me. I mean, maybe because I've said it so many times, but it's not the normal type of sales call. And what you want to do is not sound like any other sales call that you've ever heard. You want to sound like a friend who's calling to say hello and see how you're doing. Because all you need for them is to stay on the phone long enough for you to get your pitch off, as Jordan Belfort would say.
Hey, Ben.
Yep.
Do you have something that you typically share when they'll say, it's off the market now, we're going to put it back on, but I already have a realtor, so there's no point? Like they've already picked their other realtor. Do you think that they really have already picked their other realtor and just kind of say, okay, or do you still kind of keep pitching?
Hey, that's great. I can appreciate your loyalty, and that's a quality I actually respect in people. So I really do appreciate that. Have there ever been a time where you decided to buy something or do something, and because you didn't check around, you really didn't get what you wanted? Or would it hurt you just to have a second opinion come by? I mean, it would take 10 or 15 minutes. I don't mind. I'll be in the area of your home tomorrow. I could stop by for 10 or 15 minutes, show you what we do. If you don't like what we do and you still want to use your friend, the other realtor, hey, no hard feelings. It's only going to take 10 or 15 minutes of my time. Would that sound good? Sound fair enough? Something like that. I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, the second opinion thing is crucial. Yeah, I totally appreciate that. Appreciate loyalty. I've always thought it was a good idea to have a second opinion, just so I know what other options are out there. I always tell people I'm a low pressure person. I don't want you to do anything with me if you don't want to do something with me. But all I'm just asking is to give you another opinion, to maybe give you something to think about.
Yeah,
a good one.
The Ricky Caruth, I don't know if you guys follow him or whatever, but he said in a video the other day just exactly what Ben said. But he said when you call a prospect, he's like, you need to talk to him like you're talking to a family member. And he said next time you call a family member, take a mental snapshot of how you're talking to that person, from your tone, the inflection in your voice, the words that you use, how you start the conversation. And he said, mimic that when you call prospects. He said so many times when you call a prospect, we become formal, salesy, pushy, and that's not what people like. People want to talk to someone like they're talking to a friend or family member. So it was a pretty good practice, I thought, was like when you call somebody next time, just take a mental snapshot of how you're talking to them.
Yeah.
So what's going on? How's it going? How you doing? Versus like, just little things like, how are you doing today? Like, would you say that to your friend? Would you say to your mom, how are you doing today? You're like, how are you doing, Mom? Or, how are you doing? It's just little things like that, like, I think make a difference,
I was going to say something earlier when, Ben, you were saying, it was like one of your first slides, and you said, what did you say? You said, you can't really how you mimic people's posture when you sit in front of them, like how, we're all kind of leaning into our computers, like not that we're going to be doing, everyone like adjust their posture, but not that we're doing video calls. But if I like sit up straight while I'm talking on the phone, I talk completely differently than if I'm slouched laying in bed.
Oh yeah.
And so I like almost challenge you on that thing, because you're like, well, you can't really do that, but you definitely can. I don't know that's what you meant. I'm sure that, we are in agreement, but I think like if you are more relaxed when you're walking around your home, call people while you're walking around your home, like, like pace. I don't know. That's what I do when I was in college talking to my friends. I would walk around my house, talk to them, and it would just come naturally. It wouldn't be like a sales call. So I agree with what Daniel's saying, but like your posture and how you sit, you can pretend that they're like sitting with you, make whatever makes you more relaxed or more able to talk to them naturally.
Exactly. Yep. You can tell somebody's body language, like I said yesterday, by their tonality. You can tell if they're lounging, if they're standing up straight, if they're excited, if they're depressed, if they're slumped over, if their chest is out. I mean, you can sense these things by their tonality if you pay attention. And that's the fun part about communication, is actively listening for those little cues and then playing off them intentionally. So let me ask one question, and then probably need to end because it's been like an hour. How many people like to make cold calls?
Nobody except Ben.
Nobody is raising
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I know Elena, Betsy, and them don't mind it, but let me explain to you. Do you know what a true definition of cold call is? Anyone that you're calling that's not expecting you to call them at that moment is a cold call. Anybody, right? You randomly call a friend, that's a cold call. You randomly call your neighbor to ask for a cup of sugar, I don't know, whatever, toilet paper, whatever. That's a cold call. You randomly calling a prospect that's not expecting it, just like your friend or your neighbor, that's a cold call. It's all the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey.
It's just your mindset of thinking it's different. It's really the same.
That's true. Did anybody see the video on Facebook of the company that was doing a video conference and the lady used the bathroom?
Yeah, what was she thinking? What? How the
I'm
heck?
trying to test her and
She
be
thought
like,
it was
"Don't be
off.
that
The
person."
camera was.
Yeah, her camera was on, and she went and sat down on the toilet.
It showed her sitting on the toilet.
Yeah,
That's funny.
don't do cold calls and sit on the toilet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like Naked Gun, the movie. Oh gosh.
All right. Any other questions or anything on communication? Anybody?
I think a big thing is like your mindset too. Like if you're like, I mean, you might have hit on this and I was, listening, but maybe you hit on it. But like, if you're like, oh crap, I got to call these people today. Like this sucks. You're going to have a bad attitude the whole time. They're going to be able to tell like your tonality. It's just naturally going to be like, hey, how are you? But like, if you're excited, if you're like, hey, this is money that I could potentially make just by calling John or whoever, if you change your mentality, that will help a lot. I feel like that's what's helped me. I just have to get in that, like, sit down and be like, all right, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to be happy about it, because I could be in a different situation where I don't have this opportunity to call people. So I think your mindset or how you go into it, it really affects you.
Definitely.
Goes to your why. If your why is big enough, you'll make the calls.
Right.
Find a way to communicate. If calling isn't your thing, I'm not saying you have to just make phone calls. You can still be successful with other ways, texting, social media, all these things are still a form of communication. To me, it's just not as effective. You can get somebody on the phone, but the same rules apply. You can still do certain mirror matching texting. You can still do certain tonality with emojis and texting. You can still apply some of this stuff. Yeah. Anyway, did y'all learn anything today?
Yes.
Thank you, Ben.
We appreciate you, Ben.
All right.
Thanks,
All right.
dude.
I guess we're good.
Yeah, dude, Daniel, you got the recording?